by Jim Marshall is running the wrong way. Marshall is running the wrong way. And he's running it into the end zone the wrong way. Thinks he scored a touchdown. He had scored a safety.
We were a losing team. Bud took the same guys and molded us into a bunch of guys that never quit.
With 1 second to go, field goal would win it.
Up in the air.
Going deep.
They're hoping.
Tip, caught, touchdown. You're kidding. The Vikings, they win it. Time is run out. The state, they win the title. I've already told you, they win the title. For the 11th time, Bud Grant wins the Central Division.
Harry Grant Jr., better known as Bud Grant, was born in 1927 in Superior, Wisconsin. After surviving polio as a youth, he went on to play 2 years with the NBA championship Lakers and was the #1 draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. Later becoming a Hall of Fame player in the Canadian League, Bud made a successful transition to coaching and in 1967 joined the Vikings. His follower-centered leadership style allowed him to become the winningest coach in Vikings history, leading the Vikings to 11 division championships and 4 Super Bowls. The story is about him, but more importantly, it's about his followers. Take, for instance, Jim Marshall, a follower that Kellerman would identify as a diehard due to his deep devotion to his leader and his all-consuming commitment and his willingness to endanger his health and welfare in service of his
Jim Marshall was a special kind of person. I always called him Mr. Marshall, and we had a good relationship. He was our captain as long as he was here. He was exactly what a captain should be, and if I would say, okay guys, let's do this, Jim Marshall would be first in line. And if we had a rookie and line up and say, well, there goes Jim Marshall doing this, full speed, full bore, played 15 years, hey, I got to do it. And those are the kind of people you have to have in a football team. Jim Marshall was very special.
In contrast to Jim Marshall is Alan Page, a team member that Abraham Zalesnik would identify as an impulsive follower for his desire to dominate and control. Not surprisingly, Alan Page is now a Minnesota Supreme Court judge.
When you're a defensive end, you know, you protect the backside, you rush the passer, you take care of this and that, but you're not in pursuit. Well, Alan's one of his finest attributes, his quickness, his pursuit, his instincts. So by moving him in on what you call the off tackle many times, being the weak side or the right tackle, he was in on every play.
My view of the world was that from the snap of the ball, the goal was to shut the play off.
Another of Grant's former followers is Pete Carroll. Carroll was an assistant coach for Bud during Minnesota's 1985 season. When Carroll moved on to coach USC, Grant told him, "Do it your way, not my way, and don't look back." This is an example of how connective leaders, according to Gene Littman-Blumen, spread leadership and entrust responsibility to others. And it must have worked, because Pete Carroll went on to win Super Bowl 48.
Bud's an amazing man, and it was really what I came out of there with a greater sense of confidence in that I could get this done in time if I could get to what was really important to me.
You know, Coach Grant, taught a lot just in terms of observing the players, and you can learn a lot by watching the guys, and they'll tell you some things without even talking.
Today, the whistle is directed toward the training of one of his many hunting dogs. And though still associated with the Vikings as a consultant, his office reflects that love of the outdoors that has been such a part of his life.
The popular view of Bud Grant is that he molded the Vikings into his image of self-control, but Grant credits his success to his players. During his coaching days, he followed the words that the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said 2,500 years ago. The quote, which he has on his desk at the Viking headquarters where he's still a consultant, reads, "A leader is best when people barely know he exists. Not so good when people obey and acclaim him, worse when they despise him. But of a good leader who talks little when his work is done, his aim fulfilled, they will say, 'We did this ourselves.'"